Welcome to this lesson on proving that triangles are congruent with side angle side. The student objectives for this lesson use side angle side to actually prove geometrically that two triangles are congruent. And the essential question is, how do we use side angle side in a geometrical proof? Common Core standards are below. Just a little review here. What is SAS? SAS stands for side angle side. And that means that if two sides of a triangle are congruent, oh, that's a bad triangle. If two sides of a triangle are congruent, and then the next side of the same triangles are congruent, and the included angle of both triangles is congruent, then we can say that, yeah, those two triangles are congruent. So side, angle, side. So how would I use this in a proof? Well, let's say we have two triangles, and I'm going to set it up this way because I know there's one on either your quizzes, your upcoming quiz, or your homework assignment that's kind of like this. Say there's two triangles here. We'll call this one R, S, T. T will be this middle point right here. And we'll call this one Q and P. Just making up random letters. Doesn't matter what the letters are. Alright, well, let's say we're given that RT is congruent to TP. Okay, you might also be told that SQ is a bisector, so this SQ is a bisector of RP. Therefore, RT would be equal to TP, or congruent. So that's given. And let's say that ST, let's say that ST is congruent to TQ. Alright, so those are my two givens. So I'm going to write if I'm going to write a proof, I got to write my two columns, statements and then reasons. I'll separate them. Sorry about that not so straight line. Okay. Got my statements and my reasons. My first two statements are going to be my givens. RT is congruent to TP. And number two, my ST is congruent to TQ. Alright, so those are my two givens, and I'm going to mark them on the triangles as well. So I've got two sides, and if I'm going to use side angle side, that means I have to somehow prove that these two angles are congruent. I'm going to put them in a different color because the black's kind of just all running together. Let's use some light green. So how am I going to prove that these two angles are congruent? Now remember, when you guys talked about angles, what type of angles are they? Well, those are vertical angles. So down here I'm going to write 3. Don't I know that, isn't there a theorem, vertical angle theorem, that states that vertical angles are congruent? So I'm going to say angle RST is congruent to angle PTQ. Now be mindful of the way I labeled that angle. I went from this side R, okay, to this side T, or sorry, to this point T, and I went with this side, the shorter side first, and then I went to the side with 2 ticks second. So I went RST, and I labeled it the same way, so I'm going in the same way, the corresponding direction with the other angle. So P, it starts on that short side and it goes to T, and then I go to the second side. So PTQ. I labeled it that way because it's important that we label our triangle the same way. So notice how sorry, this should be RTS, not RST. That's my mistake. So RTS and PTQ. Notice how RT is congruent to PT and TS. So if I go here, RT is congruent to PT and TS is congruent to TQ. Alright, and we can say that because of the vertical angle theorem, which states that vertical angles are always going to be congruent. And therefore, I can end with my statement that triangle, and this is another reason I named the angles the way I did, is because now I can just copy down the angle. I can call the triangle the same thing and know that my letters are in the important and proper spot. So RTS is congruent to triangle PTQ. Alright? And I forgot to write up here, given. So this should be your final proof. Why can I write that these two triangles are congruent? Because of side angle side postulate. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope you learned some stuff. If you have a couple questions, make sure you go back through the video, really watch it. Take some good notes. If you haven't taken notes yet, be sure to go back through the video and write some stuff down. Go ahead and give your homework assignment your best try, and meet me in live class and we can go over this in a little more depth.